becomes more and more transparent, and the absolute self can shine more and more through. But on the causal level, you still have the entire history of all these incarnations the immortal causal body has been going through. And that's when you begin to remember your past lives and have intuitions of what your next life is going to be. Because you have no identification with anything that has form. You just see this sequence of forms, minds, bodies, personalities, as something that you have lived through in the relative world, in Maya, whatever illusion, the game, whatever it's called. And that has its own reality, absolutely. And when you get enlightened, a bit of Jaya will remain. Otherwise, you couldn't function. Then you go into what's called Mahasamadhi. And well, then Jaya is not there anymore. Except maybe as a memory on a causal level, if you keep that. But I assume you can also dissolve that into the absolute. And what happens then? I don't know. Never tried it. You know, it's the causal body. You have the physical, then you have an etherical double, then you have the astral, the mental, the causal, and then the I-ness. The subtle first distinction between the unmanifest and the manifest is an idiotic notion that you exist as a unique individual, and I, me. And then you have the unmanifest. So reaching the point where you can transcend the causal and dissolve the I-ness and merge into the void, that's the final step on the spiritual journey to enlightenment and total liberation, because that's also the stages. Much more complicated than many people say it is. Karma is in the causal level, which is slightly lower level than the I-ness. The I-ness is just this idiotic illusion that you have this I. Then comes I, and this I, and that I, and so on and so on. And then the personality builds up, and so on, and you're stuck in repeated reincarnation. So unless you get rid of that basic contraction, Ramana called it the I thought. I've always called it the I-ness. And I wasn't familiar with Ramana when I discovered it. And so I've always called it I-ness. But it's the same thing. And it's pretty advanced to get rid of that branching. And it's not necessarily something that happens with fireworks. It can be very, very gentle, subtle, like a little switch that flicks. And you just know in that moment, you're done. You're over it. You're free, absolutely, eternally, no way back, free. And books can't help to get there. And the now and its power certainly can't. How can something that doesn't exist, except as something that is no time, because it's the total moment which has no extension, have a power? It's complete nonsense.